Today I'm diving into the productivity tips of Grace Beverley, a business owner, fitness influencer, and author of the book Working Hard, Hardly Working. And guess what? I decided to give a try to her advice for a week, and here is what happened. Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tina, and this channel is all about my journey towards a healthier and happier life. I document and share everything here with you, hoping it can inspire you as well. As someone who struggles with focus and tends to lose interest quickly, I decided to test Grace's productivity advice for a week and see if it actually works. She promised that her productivity plan is something totally different, which can help me become productive easily without getting overwhelmed. I watched her video and took note of her key points. Out of her 11 tips, I already knew and applied 3 or 4 of them in my life, but let's go through them one by one. I will share the tips, my perspective, plus how effective I found them in my life. Grace's first tip was to ditch traditional to-do lists and instead split tasks into quick ticks, tasks, and projects. Before we start, I should mention that she already has her productivity book, which is available to purchase in her website, and when I checked, I found that it's a bit pricey, especially considering the exchange rate to Malaysian ringgit, which meant I would have to pay nearly 5 times the price in local currency. So I decided to create my own modern to-do list using Canva. The traditional way of to-do list is to just write your tasks randomly without prioritizing them, and throughout the day go through them and tick them one by one. But her method is a bit different. She said that we have to divide our to-do list into 3 sections: quick ticks, where you list tasks that take up to 5 minutes, tasks, which are tasks that will take up to 30 or even 1 hour, and projects, which are long-term tasks that may take a few weeks to complete. So in my worksheet, I added these 3 sections and started filling them in. On the first day, I spent more time writing them out, but as the day went on, I noticed I was doing some short tasks that weren't in my quick tasks column. So I had to add them into the list throughout the day, and I got the endorphin boost whenever I ticked things off. However, by day 3, I noticed that I don't have enough time to just write down these quick tasks because they are a lot, and sometimes I forget to write down, and throughout the day I just find out, oh okay, I need to do this as well, and it was a bit tiring writing them on. So when I got so overwhelmed, by day 4 I stopped filling up the quick tasks section and I just moved on with tasks and projects section. And by day 5 I just decided to write them a night before, because once I start my day, everything comes to me and I had no time to write down the tasks. So when I decided to write them a night before, it actually helped and little bit organize my schedule during the day. Overall, was it helpful to apply this tip? I can't say it now, because I feel like I need to be a little bit consistent with this method because it's something new and applying it to my daily life is a little bit tough at the moment. But I feel if I become consistent and continue it for a month, I will be able to create another video to update you on this. That's it. So let's move on to the next tip. And the second tip is 3 non-negotiables. She suggests that focusing on 3 non-negotiable tasks each day to feel accomplished. 3 things I need to add into my life that are realistic and non-negotiables that I have to make sure that I can accomplish them in a day. This is not difficult for me because I'm already doing my Spanish practice by Duolingo and I'm on this track of 888 days, and I also added my English pronunciation practice into my routine. But I feel like these 2 tasks don't seem to have huge impact into my career. So I had to add other tasks to make myself feel a little bit productive. So one of them was to add 1 task in my daily routine that helped me improve myself towards my personal branding daily, and I promised myself that I won't go to bed if I don't accomplish something positive for my career. So every night I ask myself, what did you achieve today? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Or you were not that productive? Another task that I added into my routine and is super effective is to prepare my meal a night before and also clean the kitchen. So the next day when I wake up, I don't see anything messy over there and I don't need to spend time cleaning, and making the arrangement in the kitchen, which was super effective. I love this part. I also added this task into my routine to upload a YouTube short daily. In total, my non-negotiables become 5, and I somehow feel this tip is super effective. So if you're going to give a try to this tip, don't forget to write down your 3 non-negotiables in the comments below. Time blocking is the foundation of Grace plan, and this involves scheduling dedicated time blocks for deep work and light tasks. Well, I found this tip a little bit challenging, and I think it's due to my not so good habits, and it's very difficult because I'm not able to focus on single tasks for long periods. Especially if you have a kid, you understand what I'm talking about, because when my son is in the school, still okay. But when he is at home, he can open the door and walk into my workspace at any time, ask me random questions or tell me stories, which can definitely make me distracted from my work. I don't blame her for bringing such a tip because she is not a mother, she doesn't have a kid, and definitely she doesn't understand how we feel as parents. But in overall, I cannot focus more than 30 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes is my maximum. I either take my phone or stand up, just go drink some water, or use bathroom. So it's difficult. Come on. I'm not labeling myself, but it seems that I might have a mild ADHD, as my therapist also mentioned that. But back to the point, I feel this time blocking tip is not that effective for me, but I still believe that by some practice and some self-discipline, I might be able to break this bad habit and this tip become effective for me. For the next part, I'm going to combine 2 tips together because I feel they belong to the same category. One is set email alarms, and the second one is turn off notification. This is something that I already applied to my daily routine, and she also mentioned that setting specific times for email management instead of constantly checking your emails, which I don't do, and also turning off notification to avoid distraction. I have been using this habit for quite a long time, and I feel like it's very effective, especially with social media. Because the notifications are a lot, every single person liking your video, they will send you a notification, which is very distracting. So just turn off your social media notification and focus on getting the done. The next tip is to be aware of the task duration. And Grace suggests that tracking how long tasks actually take to avoid overloading your schedule. And when I heard this part, I could easily relate and resonate to this because I used to put so many tasks into my to-do list back to back, and sometimes I won't be able even to rest in between, and it was so overwhelmed at the end of the day, and I felt that I was not that productive because I couldn't tick all the tasks that I put on my list, and I was not that productive. So I blame myself at the end of the day, and I developed this kind of feeling that I'm not good enough. It's just like setting yourself for failure. So when I understood this concept, I started to track how long each task actually takes. The first 3 days I dedicated my time on that, and I noticed that there is a big difference actually. For example, in my traditional to-do list, I wrote each YouTube short takes me only 30 minutes to record, edit, and post. And when I actually checked the timing of this process, I noticed that it actually takes me 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes to create a YouTube short. So this tip make me understand that it's not about just writing whatever you can do to fill up your to-do list daily. It's about how productive you can be and how effective you can be me during your day. This tip has been effective for me because it helped me to be more productive, and I could easily identify where I'm wasting my time and why I'm setting myself for failure at the end of the day. Because when you are not ticking your to-do list tasks, at the end of the day, it's actually painful, and I was always feeling that I'm not good enough, or I didn't do enough today, and I start, criticizing myself. But now, by understanding the concept, I'm free of that part. The next tip is take break. Breaks are essential according to Grace, especially after long sessions of deep work. I'm sure so many of you can relate to this, especially if you are perfectionist. Because I used to think that if I'm resting or taking breaks is just like a waste of time. And every time I felt overwhelmed or tired, I rest, but constantly reminding myself that it's enough, go back to work, don't waste your time. And the whole time I was just like being unsatisfied, and at the end of the day I was like, okay, I was not productive because I rested a lot. This tip is something that I knew earlier, and I started, respecting myself, respecting my body, I call it. The physical body needs to rest and needs to recharge and get back its energy, and you cannot just, use it anyhow without giving some break. Especially when I'm sick, I tell myself that being sick means that your physical body needs rest. So take time and let it recharge. So if you find yourself criticizing yourself for taking breaks, it's time to think twice and start taking care and respecting your body. Does it make sense to you? If it does, drop a yes in the comment section below. The next tip is to make your own deadline. This is something that I learned earlier during my time as an architect in the office. My supervisor always used to tell me to make your own deadlines, because as a perfectionist, you will never end your work if you don't have deadlines for yourself. And during those times, I really worked so hard to create those habits for myself. But creating the habit, creating your own deadline is one thing, and committing to it is another thing. You can set so many deadlines for your tasks, but if you are not following the schedule and at the end of the day you are, setting yourself for failure, it doesn't make sense, because at the end you are unsatisfied and it's really painful. I know this tip is really effective. So what do you think? If you are still here and enjoying what I'm sharing with you, make sure to subscribe and press the bell, so whenever I upload any video, you will be notified. I spend so much time to do the research and create these videos for you, and I hope you enjoy. So let's go to the next tip. We have 2 more tips to go. And the next one is use focus enhancing apps. Grace actually mentioned an app called Forest that gamify your focus by helping you grow in virtual trees. And I checked, and guess what? It's not free. So what I did, I looked for similar options that is free, so I can just give it a try and see how it works. And it actually worked, because as I mentioned earlier, I have focus issue and I cannot go long run, sitting and doing one task. The Focus to Do app was really helpful because it has a timer of 25 minutes, and once you set the timer, you are not able to touch your phone. You can do other things, but you cannot touch your phone. And I found it actually effective because it has a timer which you can see that, okay, how many more minutes you left. My point of view, highly recommended using focus apps to improve your focus duration. The last tip is to commit to single tasks. As Grace advised against multitasking, recommending full commitment to one task at a time. To be honest, I'm somehow disagree about this. Maybe it's because of my, architecture background. When I was working in the office, we were normally handle like 5 to 6 projects at a time, and sometimes 2 or 3 of them had the same day deadline. And so I somehow programmed myself to be multitasking. And for the sake of this video, I actually tried. But the result was somehow I felt I didn't do enough in a day. At this point, I don't know what to do, and I would love to hear your perspective. Should I stick to single tasking or go back to multitasking? What do you think? What is your experience? Write a comment below. That's all about today's video, and I hope you enjoyed hearing my experience, and it also helped you to learn something new. If you haven't watched my video on how to stay consistent without spending so much time in the gym, it's here. You can click and I will see you over there. Bye!